Hey, all you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another TNI toy review. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Masters of the Universe Revelations Masterverse Battle Cat figure from Mattel. And you can see with the packaging, it's the same we saw with the Deluxe Skelegod. You've got the Masterverse logo up here at the top, and it's done with blue. It tells us the figure's got 30 points of articulation. The figure is clearly displayed in the window box. Like with all Netflix-based stuff, this is based on the new Kevin Smith Netflix series that premieres on the streaming service later this month. So you do get that logo. It really doesn't matter what company, that seems to get included on all, toys that are based on Netflix shows. Then you've got down below here the Revelation logo and the name of the character, and it's listed as a deluxe figure. Now on the sides of the packaging, it's pretty basic. You've got the Battle Cat name on one side. You've got some nice artwork of Battle Cat on the other side. And then on the back of the packaging, you've got some additional artwork that features Battle Cat with HeMan riding on top of him out of Castle Grayskull. I would have actually kind of liked it if they incorporated this artwork on the front of the packaging like they do with the Masters of the Universe Origins line. But, still pretty nice artwork here on the back. You also get a brief bio for Battle Cat there. It shows us an image of Battle Cat without his armor, telling us that you can also have him as Cringer. And then down below, we've got a look at the actual figure. So the Deluxe Skelegod, which I reviewed the other week, that is the other figure hitting Target stores currently. And then He-Man, Mossman, Skeletor, and Evil-Lyn are all regular figures. And according to Mattel, those are actually going to start hitting Walmart stores first. Though at this time, I've not seen any reports of them showing up there as of yet. Eventually, around August timeframe, everyone, including places like our sponsor Big Bad Toy Store, will be offering these figures as well. Alright, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. So here's a look at it out of the packaging, and my very first impression as soon as I got it out of the box was that this is much bigger than I was expecting. I was kind of expecting it to be more on par with the classic version, but it is bigger. I believe it's probably the biggest Battle Cat figure they've done to date, and I will be giving you a comparison with the classic version here in just a little bit. But let's go and take a closer look at the overall detail of this figure. So first thing to note is the armor pieces are attached to the figure when you take it out of the packaging. This is exactly how he looks, right out of the box. And I like with the saddle, I like how they've used a softer material. It's a rubber tape material. Usually they seem to use more of a harder plastic with these, but I do like this softer rubber. I also like how you've got some added, detail. You not only have just the standard red color, but here where He-Man sits, they've done it with a darker brown. And then the horns are done with kind of an orange, off orange type color. So just to give it a little more added detail there. Same thing with the headpiece here. I also like how they've painted the eyes on the headpiece so you don't have to try and like match it up with the eyes underneath, which probably wouldn't work too well. So I like that they went on and did that. Again, with the horn pieces here, it's that kind of orange brown. I don't know what you want to call that, but it is different from the red of the rest of the armor pieces. You also have a little bit of that coloring here on the sides. So just, overall and down here on the tips as well. So I do like that. Now one thing, I noticed, I have this problem with my Origins Battle Cat as well, is the headpiece just sits on top of the head of Cringer. And so it does have a tendency to fall off fairly easily, as you're starting to pose it around and stuff. It's not that big a deal, but sometimes, especially on my Origins one, I found that to be a little bit annoying. And then the saddle just has the belt buckles underneath here, and then I'll take all this off in a minute just so you can see him as Cringer. He is kind of a big Cringer. Cringer should be a little bit smaller, I would say, but I do like the fact that they kind of made it so you could have him as Cringer and Battle Cat at the same time. So, besides that, on the figure, he's got the standard green and then the yellow striping. I like the sculpting detail for the fur, throughout the figure, and I'll give you a better look at that again when I take all the armor pieces off. The jaw is articulated, so you can have him growling. So when he's in Battle Cat mode, you might want to have the jaw open so he looks a little more menacing. And the tail is articulated on this one as well, so I like that. This, you know, he has really, it's probably the best articulated battle cat that we've gotten in the line as well. And one thing I do want to note on my saddle here, it looks like a little bit of the paint here, this kind of orangey brown paint here has scratched off a little bit on the saddle. Not a big deal, but just wanted to note that. Again, you have that extra detailing up there. So, and you know, it looks very true to how I remember, you know, from the original cartoon as well, as far as the way of the sculpting of the saddle and everything, and the headpiece. So very reminiscent of you know, the original Battle Cat armor, you know, maybe a little more streamlined. Okay, now before I take the armor pieces off, I want to show you it with the other Battle Cats and some figures. But let's do a measurement real quick. So if you count to the tip of his tail to the tip of his nose, he measures pretty close to maybe I would say 13 3/4 inches in width, or you know, length. And then height wise, if you count to the highest point of his saddle, it comes up to close to 7 inches. So again, I would say he has a pretty good size to him. Now I don't have, you know, I don't yet have the Revelations HeMan figure, so I'm not going to be able to show you that one with Battle Cat. But here is the Classics HeMan, and you know, I would say the scale works pretty good. You know, you can set Classics HeMan up here. I don't know, you know, since I don't have the Revelation HeMan figure yet, it's hard to say how much, you know, bigger or smaller that one is to the Classic HeMan. Now here's a comparison. This is the Classic Battle Cat figure with the newer one, the Revelation one. And again, even though, you know, this is a pretty decent sized Battle Cat, this one is bigger. You have darker colors on the Classic version. I like the lighter red colors. It's more in keeping with the original. And here's a comparison of above, just to give you an idea. Again, this one is not only, you know, does he stand taller, but he's also longer. And here's a comparison with the Origins Battle Cat. I don't have an original, you know, 80s Battle Cat figure, but the Origins one is pretty, I believe, in the same size as the original. And again, you can see this new one is bigger. And here's a look at the two. This is the Origins one, and this is the new one from the front. And again, you can see this one stands taller. And here's a look at the Origins HeMan riding on top of the new Revelation Battle Cat. You know, he does fit on there, though he definitely looks a little bit on the small side. All right, so now I'm going to go on and remove the armor. All you do with the front piece, again, is you just lift it off. It comes off very easily, maybe a little too easy. And then for the actual saddle, you've got to unbuckle it. So basically just slide these pieces out. It's not too difficult, and then it just lifts right off. So Battle Cat here, so here's a look at him without his armor pieces. You know, if you close his mouth, he has more of a, you know, Cringer type look to him. He doesn't look too menacing. You can still see his teeth. So, you know, again, this isn't a perfect representation of Cringer, at least not from the original Filmation series, but I do like, you know, that they made it so you could kind of have him as Cringer if you wanted to. And, you know, again, I like the detailing throughout with the sculpting of the fur. Even on the tail is articulated. You've got the hinge joint up here, so you can do it up and down, and you can, you know, rotate it all the way around. I like how you've got the black here on the eyes, and then I like how the eyes are painted on Cringer as well. He's got some eyebrows, so you know, definitely has a Cringer type face. And I like how they've done the sculpting of the inside of the mouth as well. So not only do you have the big fangs that kind of stick out, but then you have some pretty sharp looking teeth inside of his mouth as well as his tongue. So, you know, they went the extra mile there with the sculpting detail inside the mouth. And then you get a midsection joint here, so you've got rotation. You can rotate there. He's got, you know, you can do the back portion of the body back and forth. You get some clicking noise there. You also here, once again, with the back legs, you get additional movement up and down. You can rotate. So, you know, they did a really nice job with the articulation on this one. With the legs, you know, he can't do the legs straight out. He can, you know, this is about as wide as you can get the legs in the front here. But you can get the leg all the way forward. You can actually, you know, rotate it all the way around, though it might scratch the paint a little bit, so do be careful. You get rotation here at the knee or elbow, whatever you want to call this, and it's a single hinge joint, but you know, he can still actually bend his lower leg there pretty good. He can't bend it back, but he can bend it forward. And then you get articulation on the feet as well. So you even get ankle pivot, which is nice. Also, just the detailing on the feet with the claws, which are done with a black, and then he's got the pads on the bottom of his feet. So again, I think Mattel did a really nice job with the detailing. I could have seen them maybe just leaving those blank, and people probably wouldn't have noticed, but they did give you that extra detailing. Now, articulation on the back legs is pretty much the same as the front. You've got the single hinged knee, and then you actually, though, you do have an extra hinge joint here on the lower leg, so that gives you a little more forward movement. You can also rotate there. You can rotate up here at the knee as well. So you get an extra joint that you don't have on the front legs, you do get on the back. The feet, same type of articulation with the hinges. You can rotate, and you don't have as much, so you don't have as much ankle pivot on the back feet as you do on the front, but still overall you've got pretty good movement there. And then, of course, again, as I mentioned before, the tail is on a ball hinge joint that attaches to his butt. So you got up and down movement. You can rotate it all the way around. You just got that one articulated point on the tail. So you can't like straighten out the tail or anything. But again, it is nice that they actually made that movable. Now for some comparisons is Cringer. So I don't have a Prince Adam figure. I don't even have my Classics one handy. And of course, they haven't done a Revelation version yet. I'm sure they will eventually. But for a couple of comparisons, first here is the classic Sorceress and Orko figures. Here's the classic He-Man again. Again, I don't have any of the regular Revelation figures, just the Skelegod, which I will show you with this one in a moment. Of course, again, with this Cringer, he is much bigger than how Cringer appeared, at least in the original Filmation series. I don't know if he'll be this big in the new series or not, but, here he is with the classics He-Man. The Origins He-Man. And then finally, here's a comparison with the one Revelation figure I currently have, the Deluxe Skelegod. And of course, because Skelegod is a deluxe figure, I expect him to be a little bit bigger than the regular figures, but this should give you a pretty good idea of the size between the Battle Cat and the Revelation figures themselves. Now, I want to give you a comparison of the three, the classics, the new one, and the Origins without the headpieces, just so you can see, the different looking head sculpts and why this new one, makes for a much better looking Cringer when you take the armor pieces off. You can see here with like the classic one, and they all have articulated jaws, so you can close the mouths on all of them. But even when you close the mouths, especially with the classic one, he just still looks like Battle Cat. He looks like he's about to rip your head off. Same thing with the Origins one. Whereas with the new one, he just looks, he doesn't look menacing. He doesn't look like he's going to attack you. And so I really like how they've done that. So even though he is kind of on the big side for Cringer, in my opinion, I do love how they did the head sculpt on this one. So I just wanted to show you that, like in the trailer for the Revelation cartoon, we see at one point Battle Cat is up on his back legs with He-Man riding on top of him. You can get him into that position. However, I do want to note, because these back leg joints are a little bit on the loose side at the ankles, and that was actually a problem I had with my Skelegod figure. It can be a little tricky to get him to stay up there like that, but you can, if you fool with it, and if your joints are maybe tighter on the ankles than mine, it probably will work a whole lot better, but you can get him up in that kind of two-legged position if you want to. And then here he is with He-Man, my classic He-Man, riding on the back with him up on the two legs. The classic He-Man, this is the original classic He-Man that they did. His articulation, I'm expecting that probably the Revelation He-Man is going to have a little better articulation and fit a little bit better on this Battle Cat. But you can see even with the classic one, I was able to get him on there and still have Battle Cat sitting on his back legs. Okay, so that's my review. And overall, I've got to say, out of the three Battle Cats, the classics, the Origin, and this new one, I do like this new one the best. I think it is the best made Battle Cat they've done to date. I do have a 2000X Battle Cat someplace, but I wasn't able to get it out in time for this review. And it has been a while since I've seen that one or looked at that one. So I won't say 100% that this is better than the 2000X one, but I kind of feel like it is. I like the detailing on it. I like the articulation, and the size is pretty good as well. I think it'll look better with your Revelation figures, even though I don't have the Revelation figures, the regular ones yet. But I have a feeling this new one is going to look better with those as opposed to, say, like the classic version. And then again, you do get the better articulation, and I also like the feature of having that Cringer head sculpt underneath the headpiece. I do think the figure is maybe a little big for Cringer, but still you can make it work, and I'm glad they added that feature. So as I said, this figure has started to hit retail shelves, specifically at Target stores. It will be available everywhere by August, including our sponsor Big Bad Toy Store. Now I'd love to hear your thoughts about this figure in the comments section below. If you haven't already, please think about subscribing to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Like the video if you're so inclined, and also hit that bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. And of course, stay safe out there, guys, and until next time, I'll catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.